On February 8, 1980, in the quiet suburb of Markham, Ontario, a baby girl named Alicia Ross came into the world. She was raised in a close-knit family by her mother, Sharon Fortis, who would later become one of the most recognizable faces in Canada's true crime history. Alicia was remembered as a child full of energy, curiosity, and warmth, a girl who brought joy to those around her. Growing up, Alicia was the type of person who left an impression wherever she went. Friends remembered her as someone who was compassionate and playful, yet strong-willed. She wasn't afraid to speak her mind, but she was also deeply empathetic, always willing to lend a hand or listen to someone in need. By 2005, Alicia was 25 years old. She worked at Hewlett-Packard in the technology sector, earning respect among her colleagues. She was living at home with her mother and stepfather while planning her future. Alicia was described as stylish, social, and adventurous, with an optimistic outlook on life. She was at that age where the world feels wide open: relationships, career, family, travel, everything was still possible. Markham, at that time, was one of the safest suburban communities outside of Toronto. Families thrived there, children played outside without fear, and violent crime was nearly unheard of. It was the kind of place where neighbors felt they knew one another. But in the summer of 2005, the illusion of safety would be broken forever. August 16, 2005. A warm summer night. Alicia spent much of the evening at home. She spoke briefly with her boyfriend, Sean Hine, a young man she had been dating for about 6 weeks. Their relationship was still new, but she enjoyed spending time with him. Later that evening, she returned home, prepared for bed, and carried out small, ordinary routines, folding laundry, removing her jewelry, and setting things neatly in her room. Around 11 p.m., her family saw her for the last time. Nothing seemed unusual. Alicia seemed relaxed, winding down after a long day. But sometime in the quiet hours of the night, something happened. By morning, when her family woke up, Alicia was gone. Her car remained parked in the driveway. Her purse, keys, and belongings were inside the house. The only thing missing was Alicia herself. The laundry she had folded was still neatly arranged, as though she had intended to return to it. It was as if she had stepped outside for a moment and vanished into thin air. Her mother, Sharon, immediately sensed something was wrong. Alicia was not the kind of person to simply disappear. When calls to her phone went unanswered, worry turned into fear. Within hours, the family contacted police. What had started as an ordinary summer night in suburban Markham had suddenly become the beginning of a nightmare. The disappearance of Alicia Ross quickly grew into one of the biggest missing persons cases Ontario had seen in years. Police launched an immediate investigation. Flyers with her smiling face appeared across the city. Volunteers gathered in huge numbers, searching nearby parks, wooded areas, and fields. Media outlets quickly picked up the story. Television crews broadcast outside the Ross home, and reporters speculated on what might have happened. Was Alicia abducted? Had she gone out and met with foul play? As is often the case in missing persons investigations, suspicion soon fell on those closest to her. And at the center of that scrutiny was Sean Hine, her boyfriend. Sean had been one of the last people to speak with Alicia on the night she disappeared. Detectives questioned him intensely. His alibi was examined, his home searched. The public began to speculate, could the young boyfriend be hiding something? Sean later spoke to the media, visibly shaken and exhausted. He insisted he had nothing to do with her disappearance. Yet the pressure on him grew unbearable. Reporters followed him, cameras captured his every movement, and whispers spread that he might have harmed Alicia. Meanwhile, Alicia's mother, Sharon, became the face of the search. Tearfully, she pleaded on television for her daughter's safe return. Each day that passed without answers deepened the family's despair. But behind the scenes, investigators were following another lead, one much closer to Alicia's home than anyone had imagined. For weeks, the case consumed the community. Search efforts expanded across Ontario, with helicopters, dogs, and hundreds of volunteers combing the countryside. Still, no trace of Alicia was found. Then, in late September 2005, more than a month after Alicia's disappearance, the case took a shocking turn. Daniel Sylvester, Alicia's next-door neighbor, walked into a police station with a stunning confession. He told detectives that on the night of August 16, he and Alicia had gotten into a heated argument outside their homes. The argument escalated. In a fit of rage, he attacked her, striking her repeatedly. When Alicia fell to the ground, Sylvester panicked. He realized she was gravely injured, and instead of calling for help, he chose to cover up his crime. Sylvester confessed that he had dragged Alicia's body, placed it in his vehicle, and driven it to a remote wooded area near Lake Skugog, nearly 60 kilometers away. There, he dumped her remains and attempted to conceal them. When police followed Sylvester to the location, they found what they had feared all along, the remains of Alicia Ross. The confession stunned the community. All the while, as the public suspected Alicia's boyfriend, the real culprit had been her quiet, seemingly unremarkable neighbor. The case moved quickly to trial. Daniel Sylvester, then 31 years old, was charged with second-degree murder. In court, prosecutors laid out the harrowing details of Alicia's final moments. They argued that Sylvester's actions were deliberate, that he chose violence in a moment of rage, and then coldly chose concealment over compassion. The defense argued that the killing had not been premeditated but was the result of a heated confrontation that spiraled out of control. They emphasized Sylvester's confession as a sign of remorse. Alicia's family sat in the courtroom, forced to relive the details of her death. Her mother, Sharon, gave a heartbreaking victim impact statement, speaking about the hole left in their lives. She described Alicia as vibrant, loving, and full of promise, a daughter who would never get the chance to live out her dreams. In 2007, the court delivered its verdict. Daniel Sylvester was found guilty of second-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for 16 years. The verdict brought a measure of justice, but no sentence could ever fill the void Alicia's death left behind. The murder of Alicia Ross left deep scars, not only on her family, but on the entire community. For weeks, the people of Markham had searched, prayed, and hoped for her safe return. Instead, they were forced to face the devastating reality of how quickly violence could shatter even the safest of neighborhoods. Her mother, Sharon, emerged as a powerful voice in the aftermath. Through her grief, she spoke about domestic violence, neighborhood safety, and the importance of community vigilance. She carried the memory of her daughter into every interview, every public statement, ensuring that Alicia would not be remembered as just another statistic, but as a vibrant young woman whose life was stolen. The case also raised questions about how quickly suspicion can fall on innocent people, like Alicia's boyfriend, Sean Hine, who had endured weeks of public scrutiny before being cleared. It served as a painful reminder of the pressures faced by those close to victims of crime. Today, the name Alicia Ross remains etched in Canadian true crime history. Her story is one of heartbreak, but also of resilience, a reminder of how a single act of violence can ripple through families, communities, and an entire nation. In the end, Alicia's legacy lives on not in the way she died, but in the way she lived, vibrant, caring, and full of love. Alicia Ross's story is a painful reminder of how quickly life can change, and how violence can strike when we least expect it. She was a young woman with her whole future ahead of her, taken far too soon. Though justice was served in court, her family continues to live with the loss, and her memory endures as a symbol of love, resilience, and the importance of never forgetting those stolen from us. If you found this story meaningful, please consider supporting the channel by liking this video and subscribing for more true crime documentaries. Your support helps us keep telling stories like Alicia's, honoring the victims and uncovering the truths that must never be forgotten. Thank you for watching, and may Alicia Ross's memory live on forever.